Morgan Ensberg, the skipper of the Valleycats. They close the season out tonight. Final game of this season at the Joe. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Rained out last night. You had your tickets for last night. You can bring them tonight. I'm not sure about the dog. I think you probably can. Maybe Morgan knows the answer to that question. Connecticut is the team in town. It's a 6:30 first pitch at Joe Bruno Stadium. And Morgan has been with us all season long and back with us one final time to wrap things up. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're good, man. How are you doing? All right. You ready to close this thing down tonight?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm a little sorry that the season's over. You know, I obviously love baseball and I love coaching and managing and everything like that. But it's been a solid year for us, and there's been an amazing amount of improvement from our guys.
I was going to say that was my question was, did you in your mind now accomplish at least some of the goals that you set out to do this season?
Yeah, I mean, so look, you know, we have a difficult kind of task at hand here is that you obviously want to win. You want to win every single game. I mean, that's why you play a sport. And then conflicting to that is the development of a player. And so you have these examples in games, especially at the lower levels, where is this a situation where we could sacrifice bunt? Yes, it is. Is it more important for the player to sacrifice bunt, or is it more important for the player to get this much-needed rep? Because if he doesn't hit, he won't even get to the big leagues. And are we able to sacrifice this guy's at-bat? You know, it's one of those things where I made the decision that, no, we're going to make every single decision based on development. So that was really what was going on with this season.
Morgan, Chris Honorato here with Roger as well. How have you been able to gauge the second half here? Because I know you hit the All-Star break, and it's not a true half. But you hit the All-Star break, you'd won 8 consecutive series, and then I know call-ups happen and stuff like that. So has this been a difficult time for you, or do you know kind of what you're getting into, and, hey, we might face some more losses here because we're losing more talent?
You know what, I think regardless of the job you have, I think jobs and life are difficult. You know, I mean, I just think this stuff is tough. And when you're trying to teach amateur players how to play at the big league level, it's just a lot to bite off. I mean, it's so much because they're so far from their development. And, you know, the amateur baseball world, doesn't have access to the information we have about the game. And so the game of amateur ball is so it's so locked in the past. I mean, like 20, 30, 50, 70 years ago of what's going on versus we have probability and we have math and we have numbers that show us the best ways to score runs. So you have conflicting things there. So it is difficult, and we have to unbrainwash the players because the brand of baseball they were playing was built around players that weren't as good as professional ball players. And those plays and those pitches that you're trying to throw are not going to work at a big league level.
We're talking to Morgan Ensberg. We've had him all year. It's been great, Morgan, and you can relate to so much stuff going on. And as a former major league player yourself, I'm sure you've heard about the Yankees catching the Boston Red Sox cheating, stealing signs, which stealing signs have been going on for a long time. But now you take it to the next level, Morgan, where you're bringing electronics into the picture, and that's how you are now going about stealing signs to try to give your team an advantage. Where do you stand on what's going on with the Applegate controversy with the Yankees and the Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a definite line there, with the technology. I mean, I have no problem with stealing signs. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. If you're at second base or if you can figure out, the pitch that the guy's throwing, or if you can pick their third base coach's signs or pick their manager's signs, that's all in for me. I don't even mind relaying those signs. I think it's the obligation of the team who's giving signs to make sure that those things don't happen. I don't. Now, the tough part, of course, is are you using your phone to relay what's going on based on a camera? I think that's obviously just too far. Does that make sense? So I'm not against them, trying to steal signs or trying to figure out what the other team's doing. But, I don't think that you should have a computer or a phone or a iWatch relaying what's going on. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think
it's the public.
Yeah, I think the consensus to me is stealing signs been going on forever, and it's fine. Do what you got to do. But when you start getting into using your camera, your smartphone, your Apple Watch to relay, and then I think we've crossed the line. And I think if they want it to stop and end here, I think Major League Baseball needs to do something about it.
Listen, if Major League Baseball wanted technology in the dugouts, we wouldn't have a stinking corded phone to call the bullpen in some kind of lockbox. You'd have a cell phone. You'd call your guy out in the bullpen. You wouldn't bring out this huge case with 2 headsets for the umps to listen to, what's going on in New York for a replay. You would have video replay on the field. So they're trying to limit the technology a little bit. So clearly they don't want teams using Apple Watches to gain an advantage, right?
Right. But, I think we also have, and I agree with you. I agree with both of you. I think that's a little bit too extreme. But I think that this is probably just how do I say this? Something that's outside of the inevitable. And the inevitable is technology is coming. And there is going to be a computerized or automated strike zone. It will happen because you just can't keep on embarrassing the umpires. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the game. It's one of those things that we're going to have to adapt to these things. And I know that there are people that are traditionalists and so forth, but when the only guy on the field is the umpire who doesn't know if the call was correct or not, that means there's something wrong, especially when we have the technology to deal with it.
Hey, Morgan, I know everybody's trying to fix this game, and I use fix in air quotes. There's the very likelihood that we're going to see a pitch clock next season at the major league level. The Commissioner, Rob Manfred, has made it known he would like to see that happen. I'm sure there are other things being discussed. As a hitter, would you be in favor of a pitch clock, or does that throw your routine and timing off as well?
I think the pitch clock is really just putting a Band-Aid on what's going on. A lot of times, look, the reason why there's extra delays is because of TV commercial times. That, the guys are ready to go and ready to pitch, ready to throw the pitch, but they're waiting on the umpires who have a clock, and they're not allowed to start the game, until there's after. I thought it was 1:20 is one of them, and there's one long one that I thought was 2 minutes or something, or maybe 1:40. But literally, you'll see, if you go to a game, you'll see the guys all ready to go, and they're just standing there waiting. And that's knocking off extra seconds. And then, all of this, whether or not you put a pitch clock up or not, I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. What are we talking here? 2 minutes?
Right.
Is that what we're talking? I don't know. What's the benefit? I have no problem trying to speed up the game. I just think that you're kind of looking in the wrong places.
Morgan, man, it's been a pleasure having you on each and every week. I hope you're back next year. Do you have any idea whether you'll be returning as the skipper at this stage?
I don't at all. We get our assignments. That'll happen more probably in, later on in the fall, and we'll figure out where we're going. So I don't. But I had an amazing time here, and the people were awesome. The front office and ownership with Mr. Gladstone was just great, and I really enjoyed my time here in Albany. Well, I learned that it's not Albany. I learned it's Albany, right. So I get to take that back. It's very similar to when Chris Burke told me that it's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I hear you.
You had to bring up Burke's name again, right? When I told you the painful story of being a Braves fan, you had to go Chris Burke on me again, didn't you, Skipper?
It's fine. I honestly forgot that you were a Braves fan, but I was standing on deck for that deal. It was a pretty special time. It was pretty cool.
Well, Morgan, we never did get to play golf together, but I know you enjoyed some of the golf courses in the capital region this summer. Glad it all worked out, and honestly, from our standpoint, we hope you're back. It's been a fun ride with you on the radio side.
Hey, well, thank you so much, guys. I've really enjoyed it.